Welcome everyone to Greatest Media Team's production, the 4th annual Jeffrey Cranson Open from the famous Meadowbrook Orchards in Sterling, Massachusetts. This is a professional B tier taking place at the end of October, and we couldn't have made it possible without Disc Golf 978 and Meadowbrook Orchards running the show. Special shout out to First Available Print Company as well. Our great sponsors up here in the Northeast making this happen. You got myself and Rivas MC on the mic here. We are excited to show you guys round 2 of Rivas. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. It's so good to be back on the channel, and thanks for being here, Harry. And it's going to be exciting to watch you, Kyle, Elijah, and Owen play one of my favorite courses in Massachusetts. It's only about 4 years old. It's got a lot of hype, and it's worth it.
Yeah, great thing about Meadowbrook is pretty much every time I come back here, there's 1 or 2 improvements that makes it better. It's such a great tournament course. You know what you need to do. It's right in front of you. Not a lot of luck involved. Just go out and try to be your competitors. And we got the top 4 from round 1 on our card today. Showing first, Elijah Rider Brandt from Newmarket, New Hampshire, repping Union Square Disc Golf and Thought Space Athletics. We also got Owen Hamilton from Duxbury, Massachusetts. Not sponsored yet, but man, he's got a great game, golf background, so see what he does with the Frisbees.
And then we got Kyle Moriarty, one of my favorite legends out there in New England. He's going to be doing the Macarena for you guys to get excited for this round. And I didn't know you had the juggling skills, Harry. There you are, but you're showing off your skills early on, as you should. Before we get started, let's take a look at the GMT storyline. First and foremost, these guys are some of the top players in the state. These guys competed in the Massachusetts Grand Prix. 3 of them actually competed in the Grand Prix a week ago. And it's one of the final tournaments of the season for a lot of these players, except for one player who decided to get going into the Q Series. Shout out to Harry there. And also, is any lead safe in the wind? It's going to be 20, 30 mile per hour winds today. So even though Harry has a 6-stroke lead, this is going to be fun to watch to see if people can actually play in these conditions and hold a lead there.
I mean, yeah, this Meadowbrook wind today is no joke, especially with the cold temperatures. And a lot of us are woodsmen up north here, not used to windy conditions. You'll see the putting green be the most difficult part of the course today. We have here a brand new hole 1. It is a par 4. It is much further than the 525 shown on Pdga Live. We are going to a brand new basket, and this will be one of the first times we see it on coverage. So no longer an eagleable hole. This is a placement shot to the fairway, and you can see a ripping headwind here on hole 1. I'm taking a PD2, just trying to get in bounds.
I couldn't believe how windy it was, and it showed right off the bat here. I was thinking to myself, there is no way this is only 550. This is what, almost 650, 700 feet now?
Yeah, you can see the old basket right there. Used to play a little under 550. It's kind of hard to tell the measurements because, as you see, all of our players here in the professional divisions are going to be throwing over the OB trees. So as far as getting an actual measurement for this hole, it is kind of tricky, but you're going to see myself, you're going to see Kyle have well over 400 feet to the basket from those drives.
Kyle was going with his destroyer there, and he didn't get the turn that he was looking for. I believe he stabled out, so that's going to be a very tough upshot for him. And here we go with the boss, Eli. If you remember from the coverage earlier from last year in the summer, we had coverage with him with Michael Johansson, and he pushed a playoff. So this guy is a really good player, and we got our first GMT replay with the catch cam angle here.
Yeah, definitely the best player to come out of New Hampshire in a long time, and the flex shot was definitely the play for this current wind. You need a bit more trust. Throw that 2-angle shot here. Eli goes with his Halo boss and makes it look easy.
I'm not familiar with Owen's bag too much, but you said he's throwing a lot of Discmania, right?
Yeah, Owen has his Discmania staples in the bag for sure. I believe that was a Discraft distance driver of some sort, overstable, maybe a venom or a force. But yeah, you'll see Owen has a nice mixed bag. I mean, a lot of our New England players definitely have had that Discmania influence growing up, and Owen is no stranger to that.
Oh, come back, come back, come back. Oh, no. Wow, that was a tough upshot for Kyle. Obviously, he was looking for more fade there, and the overstability didn't come in play there.
Yeah, he hammered that one real nice. Just that headwind, man. Kept it straight. He'll advance quite a far amount, though.
Definitely not an easy birdie anymore. And wow, you almost went OB too.
Yeah, it's a really great hole. Honestly, I think it's one of my favorite holes at the new course. Real two-shot hole. A lot of the par fours out here, the only kind of gripe you'd have for them in the pro division is, a lot of them, if you throw a great drive, your second shot isn't really a golf shot, but you can say Eli, definitely from the best drive you probably could have had today. And he still got a full shot into the green and sticks it safe.
I was thinking about that. He still had a full shot left, and that was his omen. Very cool green circle here. I love the rock setup. It's just a very good touch. And like you said, Meadowbrook is always bringing in the heat. Every year they're making changes, and I believe this is like the second change we've seen just this year after they've created that new hole 8 as well.
Yep, new hole 8, new hole 7. There's always something here at Meadowbrook. Good upshot there from Wads and his soft heart. And we've got the first birdie look on this hole. Elijah from about 27.
Yeah, you guys were eagling this hole way too easily, and Dave said, nope, we're going to make this harder for you. Let's see if Eli can get that birdie. Great putt there. Good start for the second round, and he's going to need to do that a lot more if he's going to catch up to you, Harry. Were you feeling pretty good about this lead?
I mean, yeah. I mean, back to round 1, when I did shoot the 12 under, I mean, obviously it was so cold and so windy, but I definitely didn't expect 6 under to be the next best score. Normally Meadowbrook is a shred fest, and despite the conditions, I was able to shoot really well. So I was surprised with a 6-stroke lead. Obviously anything can happen, all the OB, all the wind. But, I mean, yeah, I felt pretty good that I could take home the win as long as I kept it safe and didn't do anything crazy. And well, that right there, looks like kind of a bad putt and wasn't my best moment, but we had probably a 15 to 20 mile an hour headwind on that putt. So for me to hit the top nubs first putt of the day, or first part of the round, I should say, I honestly wasn't too upset. I'm happy with the tap and par.
Oh no, Kyle. After going OB, he gets that too? Wow. Rough start for Kyle, but being the pro that he is, he's going to be able to bounce back. We hate to see that, especially on these nice baskets. All right, hole 2, tell us more about this one. This is one of my favorites. You talked about hole 1 being signature. This is a very signature hole for the course.
Absolutely, yeah. 410 over a little bit of an OB river shouldn't be a problem for our pro players. We have OB behind the basket as well, but man, this one's all about getting it in the circle. Windy day today. You're not going to see too many long bids from over 50 feet. This hole is going to reward a perfect drive and a park job. Wind is swirling around that elevated basket. We've seen 3 putts, 4 putts, even 5 putts sometimes on this hole. So see what Elijah's got for us.
Yeah, Derek Descents had trouble last year on our coverage, which got over 100,000 views, by the way. Thank you for everyone being able to stay tuned to that. And I remember this basket is so high, 7 feet in the air. You add wind to it, it's going to become real tricky for anybody. You could be a 10-20 rated player and still putt on this one. So what are you throwing here? I'm going to guess this is your Grady Shoe PD.
This is actually a PD2 here, going with that extra stability. You saw all that wind on Elijah's great drive, I may add.
It was
super close to the basket. Yep, just throwing a lawn dart there. Ended up a little short, but I was happy to have that one angle, consistent shot. Never had a chance to go in OB.
You're right up there. I mean, this is going to be a tricky mental decision whether you're going to run that or not. We'll see what happens. And Kyle is going to be throwing his Destroyer here, his Smush Destroyer disc golf bra. And yeah, with that wind, I mean, you can see these are some. It's hard to get the distance, and you're going to fade out very quickly.
I mean, with this basket and wind, this actually becomes like not an easy shot for Owen.
No, it's not.
I mean, you would think, okay, just lay it up under it, but there's a lot more thought that goes into it. Where to put the boxes. You see it's not an actual perfect square, so you want to be on the left side, right side. You want the tailwind putt. You want the crosswind putt. It is very tricky.
Yeah, it looks like you're going for it. Come on, Harry. Oh, my goodness. I think that would have been OB if you didn't hit that. But that was amazing.
Yeah, if I can put myself back in this mind frame that I was in, I had a tournament the day before this at Dragonfly. I had a tournament, I've been playing tournaments, and for some reason this time of year, my Circle 2 putt I just felt like I was the best in the world. I don't know what it was, something mentally, something the way it was coming off my hand. But, part of the reason I shot 12 down round one was hitting a lot of putts like that. And part of the reason I won at Dragonfly the day before was hitting a lot of putts like that. So I just told myself, there's a lull in the wind, I'm at least hitting basket. And there was a bit of a drop, at least consistency I remember. So went for it and centered it. Felt really good.
I love that putt, Harry. That was a huge statement for anybody that was trying to catch you. And you talked about, feeling the best in the world. With your rating, Harry, you're up there in terms of some of the best in the world. Like, you're in the top 100 club now with your 1026 rating. So sometimes that feeling and those ratings go hand in hand. Kudos to you hitting that putt, and Eli also getting the birdie with that great drive with his Omen. And he's starting off really hot, 2 for 2. You're 1 for 2. Let's see what happens on hole 3 here.
Hole 3, one of the most daunting holes on the course. I mean, this is the gap right here that you got to hit. Between these two trees, it's staggered, it's late, it's 280 feet down the fairway. One of the hardest holes to just absolutely pure and get up into the circle. So we'll see if anyone can do the job.
I love this hole. It's such a sneaky, tricky hole, and you don't really see it that often executed in terms of people being able to get it, and it's right there in front of you. Let's see what happens here. I think Eli's going to be going with his cloud breaker. He wants to get that distance and that flex. Ooh, stabled out. That wind must be left to right. What are you going to be throwing here, Harry? Looks like a method.
Hey, you got one. That's my Lux method right there. Didn't quite get the flip on it.
No, that's such a tough hole. Do you find the Lux to be a little more stable?
So yeah, the thing about the Lux is it does start off pretty stable, but that one I've had in my bag for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, so it is seasoned quite nicely. That is my straight flyer. Speaking of straight flyer.
Oh my goodness. Get it! Oh my gosh, that was his Vodum. What a shot by Wads there. That was beelining to the basket.
Wow, this is such a great view from the catch cam. It almost looks this gap look wide, but it is not. And part of the reason it looks wide is, man, he centered that the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that honestly is probably the most perfect shot I've ever seen on this hole. Shout out Kyle Moriarty in that Vodum, man. What a shot.
That was definitely a signature shot for Kyle there. And he has to get back into the momentum. So a birdie is clutch here. Owen's going to just get up and down for his par, looks like. And you're kind of in a weird, tricky spot. Looks like you can't figure out exactly how to approach it, but being 1026, you're very versatile. Perfect. Nice little tactic upshot by you there.
Eli, still a long look here. Potential to go 3 for 3.
Oh, this would be huge. Turkey? Come on. Oh, that was looking great. Do you know what he's putting with, Harry?
He changes up his putters a little bit, but I know for a lot of the year he was putting with the Discmania Flex 3 P1.
Oh.
Specifically the Antala Glow run of P1. So I believe that's what he's putting with today.
All right, well, we saw a rare miss by Owen, and one of his drawbacks to his putt is that if he misses, he's going to be flying by the basket. He's got a lot of spin and a great comeback to get a straddle and around that tree. Good bogey save for Owen there. Can't bleed too much on this hole.
Yeah, Owen's not going to miss 2 in a row, even though his putt is, and oh boy.
Oh, what?
Wow, that was
a good putt.
That was nasty. I mean, a combination of a little bit of wind, a little bit of pace, a little bit of bounce.
Wow.
But man, tough break there for Kyle after centering a putt and centering the drive.
And one of the best drives we've ever seen. I mean, okay, well, shake that off, Kyle. You did the Macarena earlier, so we know that you have the dance moves to shake things off. And yeah, let's move on to hole 4. It's going to be easier for you guys. It looks like a little bit of a baby hyzer, maybe putter or mid-range for you. What are your thoughts on this one, Harry?
Yeah, this is a tricky shot. More than meets the eye here. You know, on paper, just a little righty hyzer to the left, but the angle of the gap you have to hit and the amount of left movement you need after that makes this a lot more than just a stock hyzer. A lot of players are going to be flipping something up from a hyzer release, and we see Eli here showing you just how awkward this angle is.
Wow. I didn't know.
Going with a zone forehand here, so just a testament to this hole is not just a righty hyzer, because we know Eli's pretty proficient at that.
Yeah, and Eli can execute any really shot. You can see it right here. Very good shot. Wow. He's right up there. I'm impressed. That's a hard line to carry forward like that. And you're going to be going with your, I'm going to say P2, Sky God?
Yep. Sky God 4 here. And just making contact with that last tree. May have slid up to Circle's Edge if I hadn't. But, yeah, it's a little short for that disc. I think a mid-range speed is probably better. But, man, I just have trouble hitting that gap, hitting that angle with anything faster. As Kyle there going with a mid-range and going to be scrambling.
Yeah, he went with the crux. And you're no longer allowed to throw the Sky God. Is that true?
Well, that one's a Sky God 4, Discmania made, so no, that one will stay in the bag.
Good call. No, I was just wondering if that's going to change what you're throwing this year going to the 2025 season.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been announced a few places. Most of the pro team, myself included, I'm only throwing Discmania made Swedish discs this year. I mean, honestly, in this day and my bag to end the year, I only had 5 Innova made discs in my bag. So it's not too much of a change, honestly, but just dialing in some new distance drivers, maybe a new PD, maybe a few different discs.
Get in.
So we'll see.
Well, you had a great bid there, and I like that you're still running it, but it was a safe run there, and Owen's going to be most likely going to be doing the same. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to change your game, but is there any disc that you're going to miss the most, going back to that conversation?
I mean, yeah. I mean, those 5 obviously were in there for a reason. You know, they held either sentimental value or, you know, those best discs are those ones that are beat up and been in your bag for a while. Don't want to remiss here. Striping it from Circle's Edge there. Eli, another birdie.
3 for 4, and almost could have been 4 for 4. He's putting the heat on you, Harry.
Oh, absolutely. He's playing really well right now. But, you know, back to that new disc conversation. Oh my gosh. Good thing that stays in for WODs. But yeah, I mean, the Glow P2 is probably that one disc that has kind of been my crutch for a while. I've had people tell me you should just throw that disc on every hole. So finding a replacement for that will not be the easiest, but I mean, hey, it's a neutral putter. There's a lot of good options out there, and I don't think I'll be too hemmed by it. I mean, we see all these players switching complete bags. We got Ricky to Discraft, which is new.
Yeah.
A lot of new players to Discraft, a few new players. Jeremy Colling, MVP, already picking up a win. I mean, good players can throw any disc, and I find myself to be a pretty good player.
Yes, you are, Harry, and couldn't agree anymore. Hole 5, this is going to be a short, straight shot, most likely going to be putters for most of these players, and you can avoid this one obstacle, which is the tree in the middle, by going around it or scooting right through it. Let's see what Eli is going to be throwing here. I believe this is his praxis. And he's going to be swinging straight to it. That looks beautiful.
Wow, another gem of a drive there from Eli Brandt. And once again, going to make this tight fairway look big. That thing just stays centered the whole time, right on the gap. Parked.
Now, this was 1 week after the Grand Prix happened, and Eli actually ended up getting second place. Oh, what happened there? You got through? No way.
Yeah, that was some luck right there. We're not going to see the replay, but
World-class luck, but sometimes you need it.
also with a praxis there, seems to be a popular choice on this hole.
Let's see if Owen can get up there as well. Sneaking right by that one tree and getting the extra love right through that V. Yeah, this is one of my favorite holes because it's short enough, but it also sometimes the straightest shots are the most difficult. I mean, you haven't had one of these shorter straight shots yet, so that it definitely takes touch and control. And sometimes after you're throwing hard on the first few holes, that's hard to dial in. Come on, Kyle. Let's see if you can get some love here on hole 5. Yes, great putt there.
Man, what a smash of a putt. Outside circle, that thing got there quick.
I think he was a little frustrated, and he really needed that one. So I wanted to talk about your first round. What was that rated, by the way?
Gosh, yeah, that first round was pretty good for me. I'm looking at the stats now. Came in at 1072.
No way. Are you serious? Oh, my gosh. 1072, Harry? That's got to be a career high.
Yes, it was at the time. Funny enough, I actually broke that the very next week.
My gosh. Well, that's why you deserve to be in the Q Series. And Eli's getting a birdie. Owen's getting a birdie. You're getting a birdie. I believe that was a star frame. Way to do it, boys. Hole 6 is very similar to hole 5, but a lot more tighter and a lot more of a tunnel shot. I think you can go either mid or putter. Most likely people are going to go mid here.
Yep, these two holes back-to-back really set up for the player. Like you said, very similar shot. You can take some momentum in. I'm sure Eli has some after parking and lacing hole 5. It's a very similar shot.
It's just a different angle. That's the problem with it, I think. And as similar as it is, it's the angle run up, and that tee pad is just so different than what we've used to. And he was taking his praxis, and you're taking your, what is that, just a P2, your Rainmaker?
Yep, that was that Glow P2 I mentioned earlier. Unable to perfectly hit that gap this time. See if maybe Kyle can pick up for the card here.
With the big lead that you had, and, you know, this second round, you only have probably one birdie at this point. Were you getting worried at all, or were you just kind of cruising still because you still had a 5-stroke lead, even though how good Eli's been playing?
Yeah, I tend to not really worry about the other players on my card, whether it's round 1, round 2, if I'm up 5, down 5, tied. I just kind of focus on playing my own game. So especially here, I know at least I have a decent lead still. These aren't really the problem holes. I mean, sure, we see Owen running some trouble there and looks like he's going to card a bogey, but these are kind of bogey at worst, birdie at best holes.
Right.
So, 2-stroke swings aren't really going to kill me at this point. Some of these holes down the stretch, the 16s, the 17s, the 18s, can definitely bite you. So that's maybe more when I'm worried about the scores coming down the stretch.
What about the feeling of having to do what you did first round? Do you feel like that? I mean, as a player, I feel like often people feel like they have to, if they're not doing what they did first round, they're going to get upset.
I mean, shoot, yeah, I always want to play well. Shooting 1072, which, at the time, best rate round ever, I don't really feel like I need to go out and shoot 1072 again, but I know I have the ability to, and, I know my game's feeling good, so as long as I'm able to shoot decently, I'm not going out saying, I just shot 12 down, it's 12 down or bust. Just trying to put together another good round. And, there's a certain balance between carrying the momentum and also treating every round, every hole, every shot as an independent event. So that's really the balance that helps me out and helps out a lot of other top professionals.
And this course really allows you to sort of relax until the back nine, because that's where you can really open up and really start scoring again, which is a nice feeling to have.
This is a good change, in my opinion. I really like this iteration of hole 7. The old basket we're coming up was right here. Now we pretty much got a placement shot to that right at the wall. And then we have one of those signature Meadowbrook Open greens here. The beautifully placed basket right on top of this tree. Once again, this is a par 4 and it's a true 2-shot hole. I really enjoy this hole. Rewards someone that can get to the wall or even just over it. And we see a lot of people kind of have to make a decision. If you don't get all the way up to the wall, it's a risk reward type shot from kind of no man's land, I'll call it. And it's really exciting to see the scoring separation and the decisions that people make from that spot.
Yeah, I love this change. Are you going with a fairway? That was like an FD1, right?
Yep, that was my FD1 there, and looked to be a pretty good shot.
Yeah, it was a perfect spot. You just need that little hyzer and carry forward. Kyle's going with this coalescence, and so did Eli. Both the TSA guys went with their coalescence on this hole. I love it. And I think Owen got the best drive of the group there.
Yeah, Owen's shot looking pretty good there. He's in prime position. I believe, funny enough, you saw that way that his shot kind of skirted off the tree a little bit. We actually lost his under the leaves for maybe 2.5 minutes. We almost had to go make him re-tee, but luckily we ended up finding it.
The catch cam.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, these leaves can be tricky this time of year. So here's what I'm mentioning right here. Kyle was kind of in no man's land, and so was Eli. This is not an easy shot. We have OB on both sides, and he's having to throw a flex shot into a lot of wind and control the angle here. Obviously making it look easy, but you can see he's still 60 short. And the reason he is because he was afraid of going OB left or right if he put that in the air. So even myself here, this is a difficult shot. You can't see the basket. You're kind of just relying on your knowledge of the hole to put it close.
The basket being blind is certainly the signature touch to this hole. I love that you can't see the basket. I think more holes should be able to execute something like little element like that, because that can make a huge difference in your lie. And if you can't see the basket, then you, like you said, you have to rely on your judgment and course knowledge. And at that point, it's who's the better player, you know? And Owen's kind of looking good right in the middle there too. I love this hole. I think this is actually my second favorite hole for change that I've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, and I've seen the rare drive be able to get to the wall, sometimes skip over the wall, and from there, you know, a very good reward gives you a standstill putter or mid-range shot into the green, what you can see. But the average drive is going to end up in that difficult spot, and we can see some pretty good scoring separation. Few birdies, few pars, few bogeys, few doubles. So especially on this windy day, well played very well.
And Eli, let's see if he can get another birdie. Oh my goodness, this guy is good.
Yeah, what a putt there. Eli is kind of known for flexing everything. He's different than me. I like hyzer releases, hyzer putt, hyzer, but he loves the flex shot and he loves the subtle flex putt. And it's great for this wind right here. You can see, you know, a hyzer putt might carry off left like Owens did. He puts a little bit of flex on it, drops right in the bucket. Beautiful stroke there. Way to use his angles. You can learn a thing or two from a player like Eli. Does things a little differently. And, you know, sometimes depending on the wind and the situation, certainly the right play cashes in there.
Yeah, good observation with the flex putt there. I didn't even realize that until you mentioned that. And Owen, see if he can save that par. He really runs his putts, doesn't he? I don't know why. I mean, he was really outside circle 2 almost that first one, and he still went for it.
Yeah, it was that right to left wind. You saw his hyzer putt just kind of carry, but Owen's very solid in the circle. He's very good at that comebacker that he just had. And something I forgot to mention too is that's also Owen's putter of choice, same as Eli. He putts with that same flex 3 P1 run.
Of course, we got a lot of similarities in these guys' games, and that's why they're some of the top players in the country. All right, here we go. Kyle, that was for his birdie. Kyle's playing par golf at this point. Eli's playing really hot golf, -5. I think you're at like -3, so you're still playing pretty steady. And Owen is playing bogey golf, which he should be able to bounce back on some of the back 9 holes. Hole 8 is a new change as well. Very difficult hole in terms of approaching the green, but it has a lot of airspace for you to get most of the way down until about 60%, and then it gets really, really tough to get in there. So a lot of players are just going to try to flip something up, maybe scoot from the left to right side. Harry, you like this hole?
I love Meadowbrook, but I am honestly not a fan of this hole.
Oh, okay.
I'll get into it a little bit more later as we approach the green, but basically my main gripe, there's two. One is there is a line on this hole as the drone flew, but you can see there's gaps in the trees, and most of the good shots that get to the basket don't even follow that gap. And we see Eli here, as many of our players do, are not even choosing to throw that gap. Most players are just, especially righties, are just picking a gap on the right side and just trying to filter a hyzer through somehow. And it's just not the best golf hole in my opinion. So it's a hole we got to play, and I don't really get bothered by holes I don't particularly like. And, you know, still disc golf, so still got to play it. And we'll see it.
And it looks like it's fairly simple to par this one if you get down most of the way. So, I mean, that's where I'm okay with it. If it was very difficult to save the par, if there was more trees up front, and then you still have to carry all the way down to par 3, that's where I would have a lot more gripe. But obviously there's a lot of space to begin with. And Eli went with his FD2, and I believe he had the best look of the bunch there. Owen making a simple forehand approach. out look a lot simpler than it was, I'm sure. He's a good player. He's 1,006 rated. Like, where did he come from?
Yeah, Owen's got a lot of skill. And something that's funny that you don't really pick up on camera is Owen is probably the fastest player in disc golf.
He is.
I mean,
yeah.
I've played with him in times. I can remember playing the Circle One Main Classic this year, where it was a very short hole, probably 180, and the three of us on the card, we all parked it, and Owen was maybe 27 feet. And before I threw my drive, I was last. Before I even walked off the tee pad, Owen was already at his putt, 27 feet, and had already made the putt. And you can see right here, that's his full routine.
Yeah.
And that was long for him. It's insane. And, it's something funny that, like, it's not bothersome or anything, but it is just funny to watch him play because on every shot, putt, drive, approach, he is completely reactionary and just throws the shot as it comes to him.
Yeah, and if you remember the Sunstein Open coverage of him playing against Simon Lizotte at the 501 course, Simon actually said the same thing on hole 1. He said, okay, you guys are going to have to watch this guy because he's so quick. And he ended up battling against Simon pretty well there. He's definitely got a lot of talent. And Eli taking the par. This is just going to be a par hole for a lot of these, or all of you guys, it looks like, which is fine. You guys have been shredding the course pretty much other than that.
So, yeah, this is reason, too, why I'm not a big fan of this hole. And, obviously cold, windy conditions does play a factor, but we saw 75% of the field take a par here.
Mm-hmm.
0 birdies.
Ooh, that's not a stat you like to see. 0, huh?
So, I'm all for a difficult hole, but when 75% of the field is still just taking the par, doesn't do the best for scoring separation. I'd like to see that one tweaked a little bit.
Well, they could just open the green, I feel like. That's all it really takes. Take a couple trees out, and then it'll be a great hole. Hole 9, I love this hole. Going uphill, all the way up, 400 feet. I thought it plays a lot longer than 400. I was surprised by that stat there. And Eli's going to be throwing his coalescence here. Let's see if he can get that flip up, perfect flip up. And it looks like he does. Wow, he likes it. He gave the thumbs up there.
Yeah, so many of these holes set up for that Eli Brandt flex shot, and he's brought it to the table. I mean, he's executed on almost all of them.
Yeah.
You can
you
see
have it too, Harry. Look at this. I mean, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, you'll see my game is a bit more of that one angle game. I mean, I'm getting that eventual fade out at the end just because of the uphill and running out of speed. But he's throwing a more stable disc on a committed Anheuser, where I'm throwing a pretty straight to neutral disc and letting it pop up and turn. So there's just kind of a difference in. I mean, I kind of want to say philosophy, but I understand that Eli's is definitely the play for this. In my game, I'm much more consistent on hitting that slight hyzer release and placing my shot. So it is cool to see us both kind of throw the same disc speed on the same hole in slightly different ways and see the flight of the disc. I mean, that's what keeps us coming back. There's always levels to the game. At first you get hooked on the simple flight of the disc, and then you can start getting the technical aspects, and Eli certainly has a lot of those technical aspects that you look for.
Yeah, and all 4 of you guys had some really good drives there. I would say that's 4 for 4. Owen got a kind of a nasty kick, but most likely everyone's going to be able to get up and down for their birdie. This is one of the easier holes of the day that you guys played.
So, yeah, going back to my whole scoring separation point, this hole is one of the easiest, but, you see the scoring separation. We've seen eagles on this hole. We had 50% birdie, 32% par, some bogeys, and even some double bogeys. So a lot can happen on this hole to change the outcome of the scores, and that's what we look for in a good hole.
3.71. Owen with the birdie. Look at that putt, man. That was going to go a mile down the hill if you missed that, but he doesn't care. His name is Owen Hamilton, folks. What a putt.
Yes, seeing Eli hit all those putts with that P1. Owen putting his little entry in the highlight reel. Good putt there.
You guys made this hole look so easy. I believe this is going to be a star frame. Let's go, potentially. And again, huge shout out to Disc Golf 978 and Meadowbrook for hosting this tournament. This is the 4th annual tournament. Last year's coverage, believe it or not, folks, got over 100,000 views. It might have been due to somebody being on the video production, post-production there. Simon Lizotte, shout out to you. But we just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's stayed tuned, especially to the Jeffrey Cranson videos. We really love them. And speaking of highlighting and showcasing awesome talent, we want to make sure that we also give you, Harry, a huge shout out for helping GMT and for everything you've done for us over the years, helping us grow, watching you grow from a local Rhode Island player to getting into the Q Series. We just want to say thank you, and we also want to give you a heads up that we're going to be giving you a 1-year contract, our only GMT contract of the season, and we hope that you really are able to showcase and keep the momentum going into 2025. So congratulations getting on Team GMT, and we wish you the best of luck.
Man, yeah, I just got to give a thank you, Rivas. I mean, I have a lot of great sponsors, but to have a media sponsor like Greatest Media Team that's going to be able to provide that internet aspect of getting me on the map, it's going to be a huge help this year, not to mention all the benefits that you just saw. So big shout out to Rivas, doing things in the local scene when he isn't even truly local to us anymore. This guy's a world traveler. This guy helps the community so much. So big shout out to you, and excited to rep Greatest Media Team this year.
Well, we like to support people that support us, and it's always a two-way street. I always tell people that. So I didn't think at any point would we sponsor players in the first few years, but it is the right direction, and we want to make sure that you get all the support you need and excel in your first tour season in the DGPT. I mean, we're all so excited, man.
Yeah, it's exciting, coming up soon. And speaking of coming up soon, that back nine is fresh and ready for y'all. Tune in to see the exciting conclusion, a bit more open holes, some interesting OB potential stroke swings. You don't want to miss it. Join us for the back nine. Catch you there.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Peace out, guys.